She raised his son for 8 years. Never told him. When the billionaire found out, the black woman was already. The boy had his eyes. Those same gray-green eyes staring back at her across the Charleston fountain. Cleo's heart stopped. Kevin Brooks, the billionaire who disappeared 8 years ago, was looking directly at the 7-year-old son he didn't know was his. She had 30 seconds to decide, run, or let him see the truth she'd been hiding for 7 years. But it was already too late. Kevin was walking toward them? Welcome back to Tales of the Heart, where we bring you emotional and heart-touching stories that speak to the soul. If you're just joining us for the first time, you're welcome to this wonderful big family. We're so glad to have you here. Please make sure to watch till the end, and if today's story moves you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and share this video with your family and loved ones. Now, let's dive into today's story. The boy had his eyes. Cleo McLean's breath caught in her chest as she watched the man across the pineapple fountain, a man she hadn't seen in 8 years, stare directly at her 7-year-old son. Kevin Brooks stood frozen on the cobblestone path of Waterfront Park in Charleston, his hand halfway to his phone, his expression unreadable. March sunlight caught the silver threading through his dark hair. He was 38 now. Still devastating. Still the man who'd shattered her world in November 2017 when he'd chosen European expansion over the future they'd been building. He doesn't know, Cleo reminded herself, her heart hammering against her ribs. He doesn't know Liam is his. Liam laughed, chasing pigeons near the fountain spray, his brown skin glowing in the afternoon light. He had Cleo's smile, her nose, her thick curls. But those eyes, gray-green and sharp, those were pure Kevin Brooks. "Mama, watch," Liam called, spinning with his arms out. Cleo's throat tightened. She should leave. Grab Liam's hand, walk the other direction, disappear into the Saturday crowd on Vondu Range. Kevin hadn't seen her yet. His entire focus remained locked on her son with an intensity that made her stomach drop. Then Kevin's gaze lifted. Their eyes met across 40 feet of Charleston spring afternoon, and the world tilted sideways. 8 years earlier, summer 2017. "You're going to spill that coffee all over those architecture plans," Kevin had said, catching Cleo's cup as she'd stumbled on the uneven sidewalk outside the Broad Street coffee shop. She'd been 27, working as a substitute teacher, spending her weekend sketching building facades in Charleston's historic district. He'd been 30, already a tech millionaire, in Charleston scouting locations for his company's southern headquarters. "My hero," she'd said, taking her cup back with a smile that made him forget whatever meeting he'd been rushing toward. 3 months later, she'd been in love with a man who worked 18-hour days and kissed her like she was oxygen. Who took her to the Battery at sunset and talked about the future like it was a country they'd visit together. Then ambition called louder than love. "It's temporary," Kevin had said in October 2017, his hands framing her face in her small apartment. 18 months, maybe 2 years. "I'll build the European offices, establish the infrastructure, then I'm back. We can do long distance. We can make this work." But long distance required working phone numbers. Working email addresses. An assistant who didn't screen every call like a sentry guarding a fortress. By December 2017, when Cleo had been staring at 2 pink lines on a pregnancy test, Kevin Brooks had become unreachable. A ghost. A billionaire who disappeared into European tech conferences and acquisition deals, leaving her with a growing belly and a heart that wouldn't stop breaking. She'd tried for 4 months. Emails that bounced. Calls that never connected. A letter sent to his company's London office that was never acknowledged. In March 2018, Cleo had given birth to Liam Alexander McLean. Alone except for her mother Nadine's steady hand in hers. And she'd made a choice: Liam would never feel abandoned by a father who didn't know he existed. Present day, March 2025. Kevin moved first. He walked toward her with the confident stride of a man who'd built empires, but Cleo saw the hesitation in how his hands flexed at his sides. Saw the question in his eyes that had been there 8 years ago when she'd told him she loved him, and he'd said, "I have to go anyway." Cleo. Her name sounded like a prayer and an accusation. "I was going to call you. Were you?" It wasn't a question. Cleo's fingers tightened on her purse strap. "I'm back. In Charleston. Permanently." Kevin stopped 3 feet away, close enough that she could smell his cologne, different from 2017, more expensive, cedar and something dark. "We're opening the new headquarters on King Street. I've been back since February." A month, Cleo thought. He's been back a month and didn't reach out. "Congratulations," she managed. Kevin's gaze flicked to Liam again, and Cleo watched something painful cross his face. "You have a son." "I do. He's beautiful." Kevin's voice went rough. "How old?" Cleo's mouth went dry. This was the moment. She could tell the truth right here, right now, in front of the pineapple fountain where tourists posed for photos and families ate ice cream. "I tried to tell you in 2017. You were unreachable. He's yours. He's always been yours." 7, Cleo said instead, and hated herself. He just turned 7. The math was close enough to be believable. If Kevin thought she'd gotten pregnant right after he left, with someone else, in her heartbreak. The devastation that crossed Kevin's face was immediate and absolute. 7. So you, right after I left, you, Kevin. No, it's fine. He stepped back, his expression shuddering. You moved on. I left. I have no right to. Mama. Liam ran up, breathless and grinning. Water droplets sparkled in his hair. Can we get beignet? Please. Cleo's hand automatically went to smooth Liam's curls. Baby, we need to. Hi, Liam said to Kevin with the fearless friendliness of a 7-year-old who'd been taught to be polite. I'm Liam. That fountain is so cool. Do you live here? Kevin crouched down to Liam's eye level, and Cleo's heart nearly stopped. They were face to face. Father and son. The resemblance was there in the jawline, the way they both tilted their heads when curious, the exact shade of those gray-green eyes. He's going to see it, Cleo thought desperately. He's going to know. But Kevin just smiled, the genuine smile Cleo remembered from 2017, before ambition and distance had torn them apart. I just moved back, Kevin said. I used to live here a long time ago. The fountain is very cool. I'm Kevin. Like the movie, Liam said. Home Alone Kevin. Kevin laughed, and the sound punched through Cleo's chest. Exactly like that. But I'm better at remembering my family. Liam giggled. Kevin stood, and when he looked at Cleo again, something raw and unguarded shone in his expression. He's wonderful, Kevin said quietly. You did an amazing job. Cleo couldn't breathe. Thank you. His father must be proud. You're his father, Cleo wanted to scream. You. It's always been you. There's no father in the picture, Cleo heard herself say. It's just us. The hope that flared in Kevin's eyes was dangerous and intoxicating. Just you, Kevin repeated slowly. Mama does everything, Liam said proudly, grabbing Cleo's hand. She's a teacher. She makes the best pancakes. And she reads me stories every night. We don't need anybody else. But the way Liam looked at Kevin, curious, open, hungry for male attention he rarely received, told a different story. Kevin pulled a business card from his wallet. His hand shook slightly as he offered it to Cleo. I know I don't have the right to ask. But I'd like to see you again. Maybe coffee? Or dinner? I'd like to. I've thought about you every day for 8 years, Cleo. The confession hung in the humid Charleston air. Cleo took the card. Their fingers brushed, and electricity shot up her arm, the same spark that had ignited in 2017, apparently undimmed by time and heartbreak and the monumental secret crushing her lungs. I'll think about it, Cleo whispered. That's more than I deserve. Kevin looked at Liam again, and Cleo saw yearning so naked it hurt. It was nice to meet you, Liam. Bye, Kevin like Home Alone. Liam waved enthusiastically. Kevin walked away toward the Arthur Ravenel Jr. Bridge, his shoulders tight, his pace deliberate. Cleo watched him go and felt the weight of 8 years, 7 months of pregnancy, 7 years of solo parenting, and one enormous lie pressed down until she could barely stand. Mama? Liam tugged her hand. Are you crying? Cleo wiped her eyes quickly. Just the wind, baby. Can we still get beignet? Yeah. Cleo lifted him onto her hip even though he was getting too big, needing his solid warmth to anchor her. We can get beignet. As they walked toward the cafe on Vendu Range, Cleo's phone buzzed. A text from her best friend Sienna. How was the park? Cleo typed with one hand while balancing Liam. I saw Kevin. He met Liam. He doesn't know. The response was immediate. Cleo, you have to tell him. This is going to explode. Cleo pocketed her phone without answering because Sienna was right, and that terrified her more than anything. That night, Cleo's apartment. Ma, you need to tell that man the truth. Nadine McLean sat at Cleo's small kitchen table, her 60-year-old face lined with concern and love. She'd come over after Liam had gone to bed, summoned by the panic in Cleo's voice on the phone. I tried to tell him in 2017, Cleo said, pacing the kitchen of her modest apartment near Hampton Park. I tried for months, Mama. He ghosted me. Changed his number. His assistant told me he was unavailable for personal calls. What was I supposed to do? Show up in London pregnant and desperate? Baby, I'm not blaming you for 2017. Nadine's voice was gentle. You did what you could. But now? He's back. He wants to see you. That boy deserves to know his father. What if he takes Liam from me? The fear Cleo had carried for 7 years spilled out. He's a billionaire, Mama. He could hire lawyers I can't afford. He could say I kept Liam from him, which I did. He could. Kevin Brooks didn't strike me as that kind of man when you brought him to Sunday dinner in 2017. Nadine stood and took Cleo's shaking hands. He looked at you like you hung the moon. He was respectful, kind, asked about my garden. That man had a good heart. That was before I lied to him for 8 years. You didn't lie. You survived. Nadine cupped Cleo's face. But surviving and thriving are different things. Liam asks about his daddy. Kevin clearly still has feelings. You saw him today, and your heart nearly beat out of your chest. Don't let fear steal your chance at happiness. Cleo pulled away, wrapping her arms around herself. What if he hates me when he finds out? Then at least you'll know. And Liam will know his father. Nadine's expression turned firm. That little boy in there is 7 years old. He's smart. He's going to start putting pieces together. And when he does, do you want him finding out from you, or from some awful accident? Cleo thought about Liam's face when he'd met Kevin. The instant fascination. The way he'd waved goodbye like he was already hoping to see Kevin again. I'll tell him, Cleo whispered. Soon. I just need to figure out how. Nadine kissed her forehead. Don't wait too long, baby. Secrets have a way of revealing themselves at the worst possible moment. 3 days later, Kevin's perspective. Kevin Brooks stood in his new corner office on the 10th floor of the King Street building, staring at the Charleston harbor without seeing it. His brother Garrett leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, watching him with the knowing expression of someone who'd witnessed Kevin's spiral in 2017. You saw her, Garrett said. Not a question. Saturday. At Waterfront Park. Kevin's hand tightened on his coffee cup. She has a son, Garrett. 7 years old. Garrett straightened. 7. She moved on fast. The words tasted like broken glass. I left in November 2017. She must have met someone immediately after. Or maybe during. Maybe I was the idiot who thought what we had was exclusive. Kevin, you know Cleo wasn't like that. Do I? Kevin spun around. I barely knew her for 3 months before I left. Maybe I built her up in my head for 8 years. Maybe the woman I remembered never existed. Or maybe, Garrett said carefully, there's more to the story. Kevin shook his head. The kid is 7. The math is pretty clear. Did you ask her? I didn't have to. It was written all over her face. Guilt. Sadness. She looked like she was going to run. Kevin slumped into his desk chair. I gave her my card. Asked her to coffee. She said she'd think about it. I probably won't hear from her. His phone buzzed on the desk. A text from an unknown number. Hi Kevin. It's Cleo. Are you free Thursday night for dinner? There's a lot we should talk about. Kevin's heart stopped, then kicked into overdrive. Garrett leaned over his shoulder and read the message. You're going to say yes, right? I'm terrified to say yes. Kevin stared at Cleo's name on his screen. What if I see her again and realize I'm still in love with her? What if she tells me about the guy who gave her that beautiful kid? What if? What if you finally get answers to questions that have haunted you for 8 years? Garrett interrupted. Say yes, Kevin. Whatever happened, you deserve to know. Kevin typed with shaking hands. Thursday is perfect. Where and when? The response came within seconds. 7 p.m. Magnolia on East Bay. Just us. Kevin set down his phone and pressed his palms against his eyes. Just us, she'd written. Not bring your son. Just the two of them, 8 years of silence between them, and whatever truth she was finally ready to tell. He had no idea that truth would destroy and remake him. He had no idea the little boy with the gray-green eyes was his. He had no idea that Thursday night would be the beginning of everything. Welcome back to Tales of the Heart, where we bring you emotional and heart-touching stories that speak to the soul. If you're just joining us for the first time, you're welcome to this wonderful big family. We're so glad to have you here. Please make sure to watch till the end, and if today's story moves you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and share this video with your family and loved ones. Now, let's continue. Thursday evening, March 13th, 2025. Cleo changed her outfit 4 times before settling on a deep emerald wrap dress that made her brown skin glow. She stood in front of her bedroom mirror, hands shaking as she fastened simple gold hoops, the ones her mother had given her when she'd graduated college at 22, back when the world felt full of possibility instead of landmines. You look beautiful, Mama. Cleo turned to find Liam in the doorway, already in his pajamas. Her mother had agreed to stay with him tonight, currently making popcorn in the kitchen for their movie night. Thank you, baby. Cleo knelt down, smoothing his curls. You'll be good for Grandma? Always am. Liam's gray-green eyes, Kevin's eyes, oh God, Kevin's eyes, studied her with the unsettling perception of a child who noticed everything. Are you going to see that man from the park? Cleo's breath caught. What makes you think that? You have your nervous face. You only get nervous face for important stuff. Liam touched her cheek gently. Is he important? He's your father, Cleo wanted to say. He's the most important man you'll ever know, and I've kept him from you for 7 years. He's an old friend, Cleo said instead, and added another lie to the mountain between her and the truth. We're just catching up. Okay. Liam hugged her waist. Have fun, Mama. As Cleo held her son, she made a decision. Tonight, she would tell Kevin everything. No more delays. No more excuses. He deserved the truth, and Liam deserved his father. Even if that truth destroyed any chance they had at rebuilding what they'd lost. Magnolia Restaurant, 7 p.m. Kevin arrived 15 minutes early and still found Cleo already seated at a corner table near the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Charleston harbor. She wore green, his favorite color, on her, though he'd never told her that in 2017. The setting sun caught the gold in her jewelry, the richness of her skin, the nervous way her fingers traced the stem of her water glass. She was 35 now. Somehow more beautiful than his memories, which he'd thought impossible. "Hi," Kevin said, and his voice came out rougher than intended. Cleo looked up, and the impact of her dark eyes meeting his nearly knocked him sideways. "Hi. You came. Did you think I wouldn't?" Kevin sat across from her, hyper-aware of every inch of space between them. "I wasn't sure." Cleo's smile was small and sad. "I know this is complicated." Complicated didn't begin to cover it. Kevin had spent the last 4 days alternating between desperate hope and crushing heartbreak, imagining this dinner 1,000 different ways. In some versions, she told him she'd never stopped loving him. In others, she explained that her son's father was someone wonderful, someone who'd been there when Kevin hadn't. He had no script for the truth he was about to learn. "How have you been?" Kevin asked, then immediately felt ridiculous. "Sorry. That's a stupid question after 8 years. "No, it's not." Cleo set down her water glass. "I've been good. Teaching 2nd grade at Mitchell Elementary. I love my job. I love my son. My life is full." "But," Kevin heard the unspoken word. Cleo's eyes glistened. "But there's been a hole in it shaped like you for 8 years, and I didn't know how to fill it." The confession hit Kevin like a physical blow. "Cleo, let me finish. Please." She took a shaking breath. "When you left in November 2017, I understood. Your company needed you. The European expansion was huge. You had to go." Kevin's chest tightened. "I should have stayed in touch better. I got so consumed with work, with building the infrastructure, with proving I could do it. My assistant was filtering everything. I changed my number for security after a data breach. I didn't realize you were trying to reach me until..." "Until when?" Cleo leaned forward. "Until about 6 months after I left. May 2018. Kevin's hands fisted on the table. "I finally came up for air and asked my assistant if you'd called. She said you'd tried a few times in December and January, but I'd left instructions not to be disturbed for personal matters unless it was an emergency. She said you never mentioned an emergency, so she didn't put you through." Cleo's face went white. "May 2018. I tried to call you back. Your number was disconnected." Kevin's voice cracked. "I thought you'd moved on. Thought you decided I wasn't worth waiting for. I was going to fly back, but then the acquisition deal in Berlin fell through, and I got buried again. By the time I came up for air the second time, it had been over a year. I figured you'd built a whole new life." "I had." Cleo's words were barely a whisper. "Just not the way you thought." The waiter appeared to take their order. Kevin ordered without tasting anything on the menu. Cleo did the same. The moment the waiter left, Kevin reached across the table and took Cleo's hand. The touch detonated something in both of them. Cleo gasped. Kevin's thumb traced circles on her palm, the same gesture from 2017, when they'd sat at cafes and talked for hours, when touching her had felt like coming home. "Tell me about your son," Kevin said, even though it killed him to ask. "Tell me about Liam." Cleo's fingers tightened around his. "He's incredible. Smart, funny, kind. He loves dinosaurs and builds these elaborate Lego cities. He's reading at a 5th grade level. He asks a million questions about everything." Her smile was pure love and pride. "He's the best thing that ever happened to me." "What about his father?" The question scraped Kevin's throat raw. Cleo's expression shifted, pain, guilt, fear, all tangled together. "Kevin, I need to tell you something about." "Is he in the picture?" Kevin interrupted, not sure he could handle the answer but needing to know. "Liam's father. Are you together?" "No. We were never together." Cleo's voice shook. It wasn't like that." Relief and confusion warred in Kevin's chest. "Then how?" "It's complicated." "You keep saying that." Kevin pulled his hand back, needing space to breathe. "Cleo, I'm not judging you. You thought I'd abandoned you. You had every right to move on. I just need to understand what I'm walking into here. Is there someone else I should know about? Someone who's going to have a problem with me being around you and Liam?" "There's no one else. There hasn't been anyone else since." Cleo stopped abruptly. "Since what?" "Since you." The words hung in the air like a revelation and a condemnation. "There hasn't been anyone else since you left in 2017, Kevin." Kevin's world tilted. "But Liam is 7. If you haven't been with anyone since I left, then..." He stopped. Did the math. November 2017. She'd tried to contact him in December 2017. By May 2018, when he'd finally tried to call her back, 6 months had passed. A baby took 9 months. December plus 9 months was September 2018. But she'd said Liam just turned 7. March 2025 minus 7 years was March 2018. Kevin's brain stuttered over the numbers, trying to make them make sense, trying to reconcile what she'd just said with what he'd assumed. Cleo. His voice came out strangled. When exactly was Liam born? Cleo's face crumpled. Tears spilled down her cheeks. Kevin, I tried to tell you. I tried to reach you for months. I sent emails, I called, I sent a letter to your London office. I was pregnant and alone and terrified, and you were gone. You disappeared. Your assistant stonewalled me. Your number was disconnected. I didn't know what else to do. The restaurant disappeared. The harbor disappeared. Everything disappeared except Cleo's tear-streaked face and the truth detonating in Kevin's chest. When was he born? Kevin repeated, his whole body shaking. March 2018. Cleo's voice broke. He was born March 15, 2018. 9 months and 4 days after you left. The world stopped spinning. Kevin couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. Numbers cascaded through his mind in a catastrophic avalanche. March 2018. Liam was 7 years old. Not because Cleo had immediately moved on with someone else, but because, he's mine. Kevin's voice didn't sound like his own. Liam is my son. Yes. Cleo sobbed the word. I'm so sorry. I should have told you at the park. I should have told you the second I saw you. But I was so scared you'd hate me, or try to take him, or think I'd kept him from you on purpose. You did keep him from me. Kevin stood abruptly, his chair scraping the floor. Other diners glanced over. He didn't care. For 7 years, Cleo. 7 years. I have a son, and you never told me. I tried. Cleo stood too, her voice rising. I tried for months when I was pregnant. You were unreachable. What was I supposed to do? Show up in London 8 months pregnant and beg to see you? Your assistant made it clear you didn't want personal distractions. You should have tried harder. The words ripped out of Kevin, and he immediately regretted them. Cleo flinched like he'd struck her. I was 27 years old and terrified. I was throwing up every morning and working substitute teaching jobs to save money for the baby. My mother was helping, but she was working 2 jobs herself. I was alone, Kevin. Completely alone. And the man I loved, the man whose baby I was carrying, had vanished into his empire and made himself unreachable. The accusation landed like a knife between Kevin's ribs. Because she was right. He had made himself unreachable. He'd been so consumed with proving himself in Europe, with building his legacy, that he'd let his assistant filter his entire life. He'd changed his number for security and never thought to give Cleo the new one. He'd buried himself in work to forget how much he missed her. And while he'd been conquering markets, Cleo had been carrying his child. Giving birth alone. Raising their son without him. Kevin sank back into his chair, his head in his hands. I have a son. You have a son. Cleo sat down slowly, wiping her tears with shaking hands. Kevin, I know I should have told you at the park. I know I should have told you the moment you texted. But I was paralyzed by fear. Liam is everything to me. He's my whole world. The thought of losing him, of you taking him away because I kept this secret. I would never take him from you. Kevin looked up, and his eyes burned with unshed tears. God, Cleo, do you really think I'm that kind of man? I don't know what kind of man you are anymore. Cleo's voice was raw with honesty. The Kevin I knew in 2017 was ambitious and driven, but he was also kind. He made me laugh. He held me like I mattered. But that Kevin left and became someone else. Someone unreachable. Someone who built a billion-dollar empire and forgot about the woman he left behind. I never forgot you. The confession tore out of Kevin. Not for one single day in 8 years. You were the biggest mistake I ever made, Cleo. Leaving you. Choosing work over what we had. I came back to Charleston because I was hoping, God, I was hoping you were still here. That maybe you'd give me another chance. And now? Cleo whispered. Now I find out I have a 7-year-old son I've never met. A son who called me, Kevin like Home Alone, because he doesn't know I'm his father. Kevin's voice shattered. I missed everything. His birth. His first steps. His first words. 7 years of his life, gone. I can never get that back. I know. Cleo reached for his hand again. This time Kevin let her take it, let her anchor him while his world reformed around this impossible new truth. I'm so sorry. I wanted to tell you. So many times over the years, I almost reached out again. But as time passed, it got harder. The lie became bigger. And I was so afraid. Kevin looked at their joined hands, brown and white, trembling together. Does Liam know? No. Cleo's voice cracked. I was going to tell him when he turned 10. I wanted him to be old enough to understand why his father wasn't around. I didn't want him to feel abandoned. But he was abandoned. Kevin pulled his hand away. By me. Because I was too focused on my company to make sure the woman I loved could reach me. Kevin. I need air. Kevin stood again, pulling out his wallet and throwing down enough cash to cover their untouched meals 3 times over. I need to think. I have a son. Oh my God, I have a son. Where are you going? Cleo stood, panic flooding her features. I don't know. Kevin backed toward the door. I can't process this right now. 7 years, Cleo. How do I process 7 years? Please don't leave. Cleo's voice broke on a sob. Please. We need to talk about this. About what happens next. About Liam. Kevin stopped at the restaurant entrance, his hand on the door. When he looked back at Cleo, his expression was devastated and lost. I need time. I'll call you. I promise I'll call you. I can't do this right now. He walked out into the Charleston night, leaving Cleo standing alone in the restaurant, tears streaming down her face. Later that night, Kevin's perspective. Kevin drove aimlessly through Charleston's historic district, past rainbow rose pastel facades, down to the Battery where the Ashley and Cooper rivers met. He parked and walked to the seawall, staring at the dark water while his mind spun in chaotic circles. He had a son. A 7-year-old boy with gray-green eyes and Cleo's smile. A child he'd met 4 days ago and felt inexplicably drawn to, not knowing it was biology calling to biology, father recognizing son on some primal level. Kevin's phone rang. Garrett. She told you. Garrett's voice was careful. How did you know? Because you're calling me at 10 p.m. on a Thursday, and your voice sounds like you've been hit by a truck. Garrett paused. What did she tell you? Liam is mine. Kevin's voice broke on his son's name. Her 7-year-old son. He's my child, Garrett. She was pregnant when I left, and I never knew. Garrett swore softly. Kevin. I missed everything. I missed her being pregnant. I missed his birth. 7 years of his life, just gone. I can never get those years back. Kevin pressed his palm against his eyes. And the worst part? It's my fault. I made myself unreachable. I was so obsessed with building the European offices that I cut myself off from everything else. She tried to tell me. She tried for months. But I'd instructed my assistant to filter personal calls, and I changed my number, and God, Garrett, this is my fault. It's not your fault you didn't know, Garrett said firmly. Kevin, listen to me. Yes, you were focused on work. Yes, you could have stayed in better touch. But Cleo had 7 years after you came back to the States to tell you. 7 years to reach out again. This isn't all on you. She was scared. Kevin sank onto a bench facing the water. She thought I'd try to take Liam from her. That I'd hate her for keeping him from me. Do you? Hate her? Kevin thought about Cleo's face across the dinner table. The guilt. The fear. The love for their son shining through every word. He thought about her at 27, pregnant and alone, trying desperately to reach him while he conquered Europe. He thought about the woman who'd raised his child for 7 years without any help from him. Who'd given Liam everything, love, stability, a home, while Kevin had been accumulating wealth and wondering why success felt hollow. No, Kevin whispered. I don't hate her. I hate the situation. I hate that I missed so much. I hate that my son doesn't know I'm his father. But Cleo? She did the best she could with what she had. She tried to tell me. I just wasn't listening. So what are you going to do? Kevin looked out at the dark harbor, at the city lights reflecting on the water. Somewhere in Charleston, Liam was probably asleep in his bed, dreaming 7-year-old dreams, not knowing his entire world was about to change. I'm going to be his father, Kevin said. However that looks. Whatever it takes. I'm going to know my son. And Cleo? Kevin's chest constricted. I'm still in love with her. I've been in love with her for 8 years. Finding out she's the mother of my child doesn't change that. If anything, it makes it more complicated. More complicated than a secret 7-year-old son? Garrett's tone was dry. Fair point. Kevin stood, decision crystallizing. I need to see them. Tomorrow. I need to meet my son properly. And Cleo and I need to figure out how to tell him the truth. Be gentle with yourself, brother, Garrett said quietly. This is a lot to process. I've been processing for 8 years without knowing what I was missing, Kevin replied. Now I know. And I'm not wasting another day. Friday morning, Cleo's apartment. Cleo was making breakfast when her phone rang. She'd been awake all night, replaying the disaster at Magnolia, wondering if Kevin would ever speak to her again. His name on her screen made her heart lurch. Hello? Her voice was hoarse from crying. Can I come over? Kevin asked. I want to see Liam. And you. We need to talk about how to handle this. Relief flooded Cleo so intensely she had to sit down. Yes. When? Is now too soon? Cleo looked at the clock, 8:47 a.m. Liam was eating cereal at the kitchen table in his dinosaur pajamas, watching cartoons. Now is fine, Cleo said. We're home. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Kevin paused. Cleo? I'm not angry. I mean, I am. But not at you. At the situation. At myself. At the universe for keeping us apart. But not at you. I need you to know that. Cleo's eyes filled with tears for the 100th time in 12 hours. Okay. We're going to figure this out, Kevin said. Together. For Liam. Together, Cleo repeated, and let herself believe it might be possible. When Kevin arrived 23 minutes later, Cleo opened the door to find him holding a box from Callie's Hot Little Biscuit and a toy store bag. I brought breakfast, Kevin said. And I may have stopped at the toy store on King Street and bought out their entire dinosaur section. Despite everything, Cleo laughed. You didn't have to do that. I have 7 years of birthdays to make up for. Kevin's smile was fragile but genuine. I figured I'd start now. From the living room, Liam's voice called out, Mama, who's here? Kevin's eyes met Cleo's. We don't have to tell him today. We can wait. Take it slow. But I'd like to spend time with him. Get to know him. Is that okay? More than okay. Cleo stepped aside to let him in. Come meet your son. And as Kevin walked into the small apartment and saw Liam, his son, his child, his flesh and blood, look up with those gray-green eyes and say, Kevin, like Home Alone. You're back. Something broken in Kevin's chest began, tentatively, to heal. Welcome back to Tales of the Heart, where we bring you emotional and heart-touching stories that speak to the soul. If you're just joining us for the first time, you're welcome to this wonderful big family. We're so glad to have you here. Please make sure to watch till the end, and if today's story moves you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and share this video with your family and loved ones. Now, let's continue. 6 weeks later, late April 2025. Kevin had become a fixture in Liam's life, and it was destroying Cleo from the inside out. Every Tuesday and Thursday evening, Kevin arrived at her apartment with dinner from a different Charleston restaurant, Husk, FIG, The Ordinary, teaching Liam about lowcountry cuisine. Every Saturday, he took Liam on adventures, the South Carolina Aquarium, Magnolia Plantation, sailing lessons on the harbor. Every Sunday, he joined them for breakfast at Callie's, then spent the afternoon at the park. Liam adored him. Kevin was patient, engaged, genuinely interested in every detail of Liam's 7-year-old world. He helped with homework. He built elaborate Lego cities. He read dinosaur encyclopedias with the same intensity he probably brought to quarterly earnings reports. He was everything Cleo had dreamed a father could be. And Liam still didn't know the truth. Mama, Kevin said he'd take me to Folly Beach next Saturday. Liam burst into the kitchen where Cleo was grading papers at the table. It was a Thursday evening in late April, and Kevin had just left after their standing dinner date. Can I go? Please. Did he ask me first? Cleo set down her red pen, fighting the familiar tangle of gratitude and guilt. He said to ask you. Liam climbed into her lap even though he was getting too big for it. He's so cool, Mama. I wish he could be around all the time. Cleo's heart cracked. Baby, you know Kevin is very busy. He has a big company to run. But he makes time for us. Liam's gray-green eyes, Kevin's eyes, studied her face. How come he likes us so much? Is he your boyfriend? Cleo nearly choked. What? No. We're old friends. But he looks at you like Prince Eric looks at Ariel. Liam's 7-year-old wisdom was devastating. And you look at him like you're happy and sad at the same time. That's very observant, baby. Cleo kissed his forehead, buying time to compose herself. Kevin and I have a complicated history. But he cares about you very much. That's what matters. I wish I had a dad like Kevin, Liam said quietly, and Cleo's world imploded. You do, she wanted to scream. He's your father. He's right there. We're lying to you every single day. Baby. Cleo's phone rang. Sienna's name flashed on the screen. Go brush your teeth, Cleo told Liam. We'll talk about Folly Beach tomorrow. Once Liam was out of earshot, Cleo answered. Hey. You have to tell him. Sienna's voice was urgent. Cleo, it's been 6 weeks. Liam is going to figure it out, or someone else is going to say something, or Kevin is going to slip up. You're playing with dynamite. I know. Cleo's voice broke. But everything is so good right now. Liam is happy. Kevin is happy. The three of us are building something. Built on a lie, Sienna interrupted. Honey, I love you, but this is going to explode. And the longer you wait, the worse the fallout will be. Kevin and I agreed to wait until the summer. Give Liam time to bond with Kevin first, then tell him the truth when school's out so he has time to process without the pressure of classmates. That's 2 months away. Sienna sighed. A lot can happen in 2 months. She had no idea how prophetic those words were. The next day, Friday, April 25, 2025, Kevin's office. Kevin sat in his King Street office, staring at the folder his head of security had just placed on his desk. His hands shook as he opened it. Inside were photographs. Documents. An investigation report he'd commissioned 4 weeks ago when the questions had become unbearable. Why hadn't Cleo tried harder to reach him in 2017? Why hadn't she reached out again when he'd returned to the States in 2020? Why had she waited until he'd literally run into her at Waterfront Park? The report told a story that made Kevin's blood run cold. Cleo had tried to reach him. Extensively. 17 emails sent between December 2017 and March 2018. Every single one intercepted by his former assistant, Vanessa Chen, and deleted without Kevin ever seeing them. 23 phone calls logged. All blocked. One registered letter sent to the London office in February 2018. Signed for by Vanessa Chen. Never delivered to Kevin. The report included email recovery records. Kevin clicked open the first one, dated December 10, 2017. Kevin, I know you're busy with the expansion, but I really need to talk to you. Something important has come up. Please call me when you can. I miss you. Cleo. December 28, 2017. Kevin, I've been trying to reach you for weeks. Your number doesn't work anymore and your assistant won't put me through. I'm pregnant. The baby is yours. Please, I need to hear from you. I don't know what to do. Cleo. January 15, 2018. Kevin, I don't understand why you won't respond. I'm almost 3 months pregnant now. I'm scared and alone and I need you. Please. Just one call. Just let me know you got these emails. Let me know you care, even if you don't want to be involved. Cleo. February 20th, 2018. Kevin, this is my last email. I sent a letter to your London office. If you choose not to respond, I'll understand what that means. I'll raise our baby alone. But I want you to know I tried. I tried so hard to tell you. And I'll make sure our child knows that their father didn't abandon them on purpose. That you just chose something else. I hope your empire is everything you wanted it to be. Cleo. Kevin's vision blurred. His hands fisted on the desk. Vanessa Chen had deleted every single message. Had blocked every call. Had intercepted the registered letter and destroyed it. All while telling Kevin that Cleo had tried a few times but nothing urgent. Kevin had fired Vanessa in 2019 for unrelated performance issues. She'd moved back to the States, currently working for a competitor in San Francisco. The rage that filled Kevin was incandescent and terrifying. He'd missed his son's entire existence because his assistant had decided Cleo wasn't important enough to disturb him. He grabbed his phone and called his lawyer. I need you to prepare a lawsuit, Kevin said without preamble. Vanessa Chen. Interference with personal communications, breach of fiduciary duty, intentional infliction of emotional distress. I want her buried. Kevin, what happened? His lawyer's voice was cautious. She deleted emails telling me I was going to be a father. She blocked the mother of my child from reaching me for months while she was pregnant and terrified. She cost me 7 years of my son's life. Kevin's voice shook with fury. I want her destroyed professionally and financially. Can you do that? I can certainly try. But Kevin, litigation like this can get messy. It'll be public. Your son will eventually read about it. I don't care. Kevin stood, pacing to the window overlooking Charleston Harbor. I need someone to pay for what I lost. If it can't be me, because this is partially my fault for being unreachable, then it's going to be her. After his lawyer hung up with promises to start building the case, Kevin sat in his office and let himself feel the full weight of what had been stolen from him. He'd missed Cleo's pregnancy. Missed being there when she was scared and alone. Missed Liam's birth. First steps. First words. First day of school. All because Vanessa Chen had decided a pregnant woman wasn't worth bothering him about. Kevin's phone buzzed. A text from Cleo. Liam wants to know if Folly Beach tomorrow is still happening. He's been talking about it all morning. Kevin stared at the message. At the emoji. At the casual domesticity of the question. Cleo didn't know about the emails yet. Didn't know that her months of desperate attempts to reach him hadn't been ignored, they'd been actively sabotaged. He should tell her. They'd built their tentative co-parenting relationship on honesty. On finally being truthful with each other after years of miscommunication. But Kevin looked at those recovered emails again. At Cleo's increasing desperation. At her final message, I hope your empire is everything you wanted it to be. She'd thought he'd gotten her messages and chosen not to respond. She'd thought he'd known about the pregnancy and hadn't cared. For 7 years, Cleo had believed Kevin had deliberately abandoned her and their unborn child. And she'd never told him that. Never thrown it in his face. Never used it as a weapon during their painful dinner at Magnolia 6 weeks ago. She'd just apologized for not trying harder. The injustice of it ignited something dark in Kevin's chest. He texted back. Tomorrow is definitely happening. I'll pick him up at 9 a.m. We'll make a whole day of it. Then he added, can we talk tonight? After Liam's asleep? I need to show you something. The response came quickly. Is everything okay? Kevin typed and deleted 3 responses before settling on, "It will be. I'll come by around 8:30. That evening, Cleo's apartment, 8:45 p.m. Cleo opened the door to find Kevin holding a tablet and wearing an expression she'd never seen before, rage barely contained beneath a veneer of calm. "What's wrong?" Cleo stepped aside to let him in. Kevin walked to her small living room and sat on the couch. When Cleo joined him, he handed her the tablet without preamble. "I hired an investigator," Kevin said quietly. "4 weeks ago. I needed to understand what happened in 2017 and 2018. I needed to know why you couldn't reach me." Cleo's stomach dropped. "Kevin, just read." Cleo looked down at the screen. An email. From her old account. Dated December 28, 2017. The email where she'd told Kevin she was pregnant. The email he'd never received. "Where did you get this?" Cleo whispered. "Email recovery service. My former assistant, Vanessa Chen, deleted 17 emails from you between December 2017 and March 2018. Kevin's voice was eerily calm. "She also blocked 23 phone calls and intercepted a registered letter you sent to my London office. I never saw any of it, Cleo. Not one message. Not one call. Nothing." Cleo scrolled through the recovered emails, watching her past self become increasingly desperate, increasingly hopeless. Tears streamed down her face as she read her own words from 7 years ago. "You tried to tell me," Kevin continued. "You tried for months. And my assistant decided you weren't important enough to bother me with. She told me you'd called a few times but it wasn't urgent. She lied to both of us." "Oh my God." Cleo looked up at Kevin. "You really didn't know. All this time, I thought you'd gotten at least some of these. I thought maybe you'd read them and just decided you didn't want to be involved." "Never." Kevin took the tablet from her shaking hands. "If I'd seen even one of these emails, I would have been on the next flight back. Pregnant girlfriend trumps European expansion, Cleo. Every single time." "Girlfriend?" Cleo's voice was small. "Is that what I was?" "You were everything." Kevin's facade cracked. "You were the woman I loved. The woman I thought about every single day for 8 years. The woman I came back to Charleston hoping to find. And while I was building my empire, you were carrying my child and thinking I'd abandoned you both." "Kevin, I'm suing Vanessa Chen." Kevin's voice hardened. "My lawyer is building a case for interference, breach of duty, emotional distress. I'm going to destroy her career and make her pay for every year she stole from me." Cleo's eyes widened. "A lawsuit? Kevin, that's going to be public. That's going to bring reporters and attention, Anne. I don't care." Kevin stood, pacing her small living room. "Someone needs to pay for this, Cleo. She cost me 7 years with my son. She cost you months of terror thinking you'd been abandoned. She deserves to face consequences. But have you thought about Liam?" Cleo stood too, fear creeping into her voice. "We still haven't told him you're his father. If this lawsuit becomes public, if reporters start digging, if someone at his school sees a news article." "Then we tell him now," Kevin interrupted. "This weekend. We sit him down and tell him the truth. He's 7 years old." Cleo's voice rose. "We agreed to wait until summer. Until he's out of school and has time to process without. Our agreement was made before I knew my assistant had sabotaged us." Kevin's composure shattered. "Before I knew you spent months thinking I deliberately abandoned you. Before I understood the full scope of what was stolen from all of us. So you're going to blow up our son's world because you're angry?" Cleo shot back. "I'm going to pursue justice because someone committed a criminal act against my family." Kevin's voice thundered in the small apartment. "Lower your voice," Cleo hissed. "Liam is sleeping." Kevin ran his hands through his hair, frustration radiating from every line of his body. "I can't keep pretending, Cleo. Every time Liam calls me Kevin instead of Dad, it kills me. Every time he talks about wishing he had a father, and I have to sit there and smile and not tell him I'm right here, I can't do it anymore. So this is about you." Cleo's eyes flashed. "About what you want. What you need. Never mind that Liam needs stability. Never mind that I've been the one raising him alone for 7 years and might have insight into what's best for him. You've been making decisions about my son without me for 7 years," Kevin said coldly. "Forgive me if I don't automatically trust your judgment." The words hit Cleo like a physical blow. "Get out," she whispered. "Cleo, get out." Cleo pointed to the door, her whole body shaking. "You want to sue your assistant? Fine. You want to tell Liam? We'll discuss it when you're calmer. But right now, you need to leave before you say something else you can't take back." Kevin stared at her, breathing hard, the tablet still clutched in his hand. For a moment, Cleo thought he might apologize. Might take back the accusation. Might remember that they were supposed to be on the same side. Instead, he walked to the door. "I'm picking up Liam tomorrow at 9 for Folly Beach," Kevin said without turning around. "We agreed. Don't take your anger at me out on our son by canceling." I would never do that, Cleo said, her voice breaking. Unlike you, I actually think about what's best for Liam before I act. Kevin flinched. Then he walked out, closing the door quietly behind him. Cleo stood in her living room, shaking with fury and heartbreak, and wondered how they'd gone from building something beautiful to this in the span of one conversation. Her phone buzzed. A text from her mother. How did it go with Kevin tonight? Cleo typed back with trembling fingers. Badly. He found out his assistant deleted all my emails from 2017. Now he wants to sue her and tell Liam everything immediately. We had a huge fight. Nadine's response was immediate. Come to Sunday dinner tomorrow. Bring Liam. We need to talk about this as a family. Cleo sent back a thumbs up, too exhausted to type more. From down the hall, she heard Liam's sleepy voice. Mama? Why were you yelling? Cleo's heart sank. She walked to Liam's bedroom and found him sitting up in bed, his gray-green eyes wide with concern. I'm sorry, baby. Kevin and I had a disagreement. But everything's fine. Cleo sat on the edge of his bed, smoothing his curls. Are you mad at Kevin? Liam's lower lip trembled. Is he not going to come around anymore? No, baby. Kevin will always be in your life. I promise. Cleo pulled Liam into a hug. Adults sometimes argue, but it doesn't mean we stop caring about each other. Good. Liam burrowed into her arms. I don't want Kevin to leave. I really, really like him, Mama. He's your father, Cleo thought desperately. And I don't know how to tell you without breaking your heart. I know you do, baby, Cleo whispered. Go back to sleep. Kevin is still taking you to Folly Beach tomorrow. After Liam fell back asleep, Cleo returned to the living room and picked up the tablet Kevin had left behind. She read through all 17 recovered emails. Watched her past self become increasingly desperate. Saw the exact moment when she'd given up hope. I hope your empire is everything you wanted it to be. Kevin had read that line. Had seen her final, bitter acceptance that he'd chosen ambition over her and their unborn child. No wonder he wanted someone to pay. Cleo thought about Vanessa Chen, a woman she'd never met, who'd made a series of decisions that had altered the course of 3 lives. Who'd decided a pregnant woman wasn't important enough to disturb her boss. Part of Cleo wanted her destroyed too. But the larger part, the part that had survived 7 years of single motherhood, that had built a life out of heartbreak, that had learned to be practical instead of vindictive, knew that a lawsuit would bring chaos they couldn't control. Reporters. Publicity. Questions at Liam's school. And worst of all, Liam finding out the truth from a news article instead of from his parents. Cleo grabbed her phone and texted Kevin. We need to tell him. You're right. This weekend, before anything becomes public. But we do it together, and we do it gently. Can you agree to that? 30 seconds later, Kevin responded. Yes. I'm sorry for what I said. You've been an amazing mother. I was angry and I lashed out. Forgive me. Cleo typed. Forgiven. But Kevin, the lawsuit. Please think about what it means for Liam before you move forward. The response took longer this time. I hear you. I'll hold off on filing until after we tell him. Give us time to control the narrative. Thank you. Cleo? I'm still coming tomorrow. For Folly Beach. I need you to know I'm not going anywhere. Not this time. Cleo's eyes filled with tears. I know. See you at 9. She set down her phone and looked around her small apartment, the home she'd built for herself and Liam over 7 years. The life she'd created from nothing when Kevin had disappeared. Tomorrow, Kevin would take their son to the beach. Sunday, they'd sit Liam down and shatter his understanding of his own identity. And sometime after that, Kevin would probably file his lawsuit, and their private tragedy would become public spectacle. Cleo walked to Liam's room and watched him sleep, innocent, beloved, about to have his world turned upside down. I'm so sorry, baby, Cleo whispered. We should have told you sooner. We should have been braver. But courage and timing were luxuries they no longer had. The truth was coming, whether they were ready or not. Saturday, April 26, 2025, Folly Beach. Kevin picked up Liam at exactly 9 a.m., the tension between him and Cleo palpable but hidden behind bright smiles for their son's benefit. Have fun, Cleo said, hugging Liam tight. Listen to Kevin, stay where he can see you, and put on sunscreen. I will, Mama. Liam grabbed Kevin's hand without hesitation, and Cleo watched her son walk away with his father, neither of them knowing that tomorrow, everything would change. Kevin looked back once. Met Cleo's eyes over Liam's head. Tomorrow, his expression said. We tell him tomorrow. Cleo nodded and closed the door. She had 24 hours to figure out how to tell her 7-year-old son that she'd been lying to him his entire life. 24 hours before their fragile peace shattered completely. Welcome back to Tales of the Heart, where we bring you emotional and heart-touching stories that speak to the soul. If you're just joining us for the first time, you're welcome to this wonderful big family. We're so glad to have you here. Please make sure to watch till the end, and if today's story moves you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and share this video with your family and loved ones. Now, let's continue. Sunday, April 27, 2025, 2 p.m., Nadine's house. Cleo stood on her mother's front porch in the West Side neighborhood of Charleston, gripping Liam's hand so tightly he squirmed. Kevin's car pulled up behind hers, and she watched him get out, shoulders tense, face pale, looking like a man walking toward his own execution. They'd agreed to tell Liam here, at Nadine's house, surrounded by family and love. A safe place for their son's world to fall apart. Why is Kevin coming to Grandma's? Liam asked, confused. I thought Sunday dinner was just family. Cleo's throat constricted. He is family, baby. That's what we need to talk to you about. Kevin reached them, and for a moment, he and Cleo just looked at each other. 8 years of miscommunication. 6 weeks of careful co-parenting. One massive fight 2 nights ago. All of it culminating in this moment. Ready? Kevin's voice was rough. No, Cleo whispered. But we're out of time. Nadine opened the door before they could knock. At 60 years old, she was still formidable, 5'2" of wisdom and strength that had held Cleo together through the worst moments of her life. Come in, Nadine said gently. I made Liam's favorite cookies. And sweet tea for the adults. We're going to need it. Inside, Nadine's living room was exactly as Cleo remembered from every Sunday of her life, worn but comfortable furniture, family photos covering every surface, the smell of Sunday roast coming from the kitchen. Sienna sat in the corner armchair. Cleo had asked her to be there for support. She gave Cleo an encouraging nod. Liam, baby, come sit with me and your mama, Nadine said, settling onto the couch. What's going on? Liam looked between the adults, his 7-year-old instincts sensing something big. Am I in trouble? No, sweetheart. Kevin knelt in front of Liam, and Cleo saw his hands shake. You're not in trouble. You could never be in trouble. We just need to talk to you about something very important. Liam sat between Cleo and Nadine, his gray-green eyes wide. Cleo took his small hand in hers and felt her heart shatter preemptively. Liam, Cleo began, her voice trembling. Do you remember when you asked me about your dad? About why you don't have a father like the other kids at school? You said he didn't know about me, Liam said slowly. You said he lived far away and you couldn't tell him. That's right. Cleo's eyes filled with tears. But baby, that's changed. He's not far away anymore. He's here. In Charleston. Liam's gaze swung to Kevin, who was still kneeling in front of him. The little boy's face went through a dozen emotions in seconds, confusion, hope, disbelief. Kevin? Liam whispered. Kevin's face crumpled. Yes. I'm your dad, Liam. I'm your father. The silence that followed was deafening. Liam stared at Kevin. Then at Cleo. Then back at Kevin. But you said? Liam's voice rose. Mama, you said my dad didn't know about me. You said he was far away. He was far away, baby. Cleo pulled Liam close, but he resisted. When you were born, Kevin was in Europe. I tried to tell him I was pregnant, but I couldn't reach him. And then years passed, and it got complicated. You lied. Liam pulled away from her completely, his eyes accusing. You said he didn't know. But Kevin's been here for weeks. You both knew. You both lied to me. Liam, I just found out 6 weeks ago, Kevin said urgently. I swear to you, I didn't know you existed until March. If I'd known, I would have been here from the very beginning. But Mama knew. Liam's voice cracked, tears streaming down his face. Mama knew the whole time. For my whole life, she knew who my dad was, and she didn't tell me. Baby, I was trying to protect you. Cleo reached for him. Don't touch me. Liam scrambled off the couch and back toward Nadine. You lied. All those times I asked about my dad, and you knew. You knew and you didn't tell me. Liam, sweetheart, your mama had good reasons, Nadine started. I don't care. Liam sobbed. Everyone has a dad but me, and I had one the whole time. Kevin was right here. He likes me. He does fun stuff with me. And nobody told me. Kevin stood, his own face wet with tears. Liam, I know you're angry. You have every right to be angry. But please understand, your mama thought she was doing the right thing. She was scared and alone, and I was unreachable. This isn't her fault. Then whose fault is it? Liam turned on Kevin with 7 years of abandonment issues crystallizing into rage. You're my dad. How come you didn't know about me? How come you weren't here when I was born? How come you missed everything? The question hung in the air like an indictment. Kevin sank into a chair, devastated. Because I made mistakes. Because I was working in Europe and I changed my phone number and I had an assistant who kept your mama from reaching me. Because I was building a company and I thought that mattered more than anything else. Because I was an idiot, Liam. And I'm so sorry. I don't want sorry. Liam's voice rose to a scream. I want my dad. I wanted my dad at my birthday parties. I wanted my dad to teach me to ride a bike. I wanted my dad to read me stories. All the other kids have dads, and I didn't, and now you're saying I did have one but nobody told me. Liam ran from the living room. Seconds later, they heard Nadine's guest bedroom door slam. Cleo stood to follow, but Nadine caught her arm. Let him be for a minute, baby. He needs to feel what he's feeling. I destroyed him. Cleo collapsed back onto the couch, sobbing. I should have told him sooner. I should have been braver. I ruined everything. Kevin sat beside her and, without thinking, pulled her into his arms. Cleo buried her face in his chest and broke apart. We both made mistakes, Kevin said into her hair. But we're going to fix this. We're going to make it right. How? Cleo looked up at him. He hates me. Did you see his face? He hates me for lying to him. He doesn't hate you. He's hurt and confused. Kevin wiped her tears with his thumb. Give him time. Give him space to be angry. Then we show him that we're here now. That we're not going anywhere. That we're a family, even if it took us a while to figure it out. Sienna spoke from the corner. He's 7. His emotions are big right now, but kids are resilient. He'll forgive you both. You just have to give him room to process. From down the hall, they heard Liam crying. The sound ripped through Cleo's chest. I should go to him, Cleo said. Let me, Kevin said quietly. Please, let me try. Cleo hesitated, then nodded. Kevin walked down the hall and knocked gently on the guest bedroom door. Liam? It's Kevin. Can I come in? Go away. Liam's voice was muffled by tears. I'm not going anywhere, Kevin said. I'm going to sit right here outside this door until you're ready to talk. I don't care if it takes all day. I've missed 7 years with you, buddy. I'm not missing another minute if I can help it. Silence. Then, you missed my whole life. I know. Kevin's voice broke. And I can never get those years back? That's going to hurt for the rest of my life, Liam. But I'm here now. And I'm not leaving. Not ever again. Promise? I promise. Kevin pressed his palm against the door. Can I come in? Please? After a long moment, the door opened. Liam stood there, face blotchy and tear-streaked, looking impossibly small and heartbroken. Kevin's heart shattered all over again. Can I hug you? Kevin asked. Liam nodded and launched himself at Kevin. Kevin caught him, sinking to his knees and holding his son while Liam sobbed into his shoulder. 7 years of questions, 7 years of absence, 7 years of wondering why he didn't have a dad like the other kids, all of it pouring out in wrenching cries. I've got you, Kevin whispered, rocking Liam gently. I've got you, son. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I wanted you, Liam sobbed. I wanted a dad so bad. I know. And I wanted you too. I just didn't know you existed. Kevin pulled back enough to look Liam in the eyes. But I know now. And you're the best thing that's ever happened to me, Liam. The very best thing. Really? Liam's voice was so small, so desperate for reassurance. Really? Kevin smiled through his tears. Do you know what I thought the first time I saw you at the fountain? Before I knew you were mine. Liam shook his head. I thought, that kid is so cool. I wish I had a son like that. Kevin touched Liam's face gently. And then I found out you actually were my son, and it was like every wish I'd never let myself make all came true at once. But you didn't get to see me when I was little, Liam said. You missed all the important stuff. I did. And that makes me sadder than you can imagine. Kevin's voice was thick with emotion. But I'm here for all the important stuff that's coming. Your 8th birthday. Learning to swim. Starting 3rd grade. Learning to drive someday. Your high school graduation. Your wedding. All of it. I'm going to be there for all of it if you'll let me. You really want to be my dad? Liam searched Kevin's face. More than anything in the entire world. Kevin's voice was fierce with sincerity. You're my son, Liam. And I love you. I've loved you since the moment I found out you existed, and I'm going to love you for the rest of my life. Liam threw his arms around Kevin's neck again. I love you too, Dad. Kevin made a sound that was half laugh, half sob. Say that again. Dad. Liam pulled back and smiled tentatively. Can I call you Dad now? Instead of Kevin? Please. Kevin was crying openly now. Please call me Dad. I've been waiting my whole life to hear you say that. They stayed like that for a long moment, father and son, finally knowing each other's true names. Then Liam's expression clouded again. But I'm still mad at Mama. I know. Kevin stood, lifting Liam with him. Being mad is okay. But Liam? Your mama loves you more than anything. She did everything alone for 7 years because she couldn't reach me. She worked hard, she took care of you, she made sure you had everything you needed. She's a superhero, buddy. And yeah, she made some mistakes about when to tell you the truth. But she did it because she was trying to protect you. From what? From getting hurt. From feeling abandoned. From all the complicated adult stuff that wasn't your fault. Kevin carried Liam back toward the living room. Your mama and I, we messed up the timing. But we both love you so much. Can you maybe give her a chance to explain? Liam was quiet for a moment. Then, okay. But I'm still mad. That's fair. They entered the living room to find Cleo, Nadine, and Sienna exactly where they'd left them. Cleo looked up, her eyes red and swollen, and when she saw Liam in Kevin's arms, fresh tears spilled over. Baby, Cleo started. I'm mad at you, Liam interrupted. You should have told me. You're absolutely right. Cleo nodded, not making excuses. I should have told you sooner. I was scared and I made the wrong choice. I'm so sorry, Liam. Dad says you were trying to protect me. Liam tested out the word dad, and Kevin's entire face lit up. I was, Cleo said. But that doesn't make the lie okay. You deserve to know the truth, and I kept it from you too long. Can you forgive me? Liam considered this. Then, not yet. But maybe later. That's fair, Cleo said, her voice breaking. I'll wait as long as you need. Kevin set Liam down, and the little boy walked to Nadine instead of Cleo. The rejection was visible, and Cleo had to look away. Grandma, can I have cookies now? Liam asked. Of course, baby. Nadine stood. Come help me in the kitchen. Once they were alone, Sienna moved to sit beside Cleo. That actually went better than I expected. He won't even look at me, Cleo whispered. He will, Kevin said firmly. He just needs time. Kids process things differently. He'll come around. What if he doesn't? What if I damaged our relationship permanently? Cleo looked at Kevin with devastated eyes. You didn't. Kevin took her hand. Cleo, you're his whole world. He's hurt right now, but he'll forgive you. And in the meantime, we're in this together. We're going to co-parent, we're going to give him stability, and we're going to show him that even though we made mistakes, we're committed to making things right. Together, Cleo repeated softly. Together. Kevin squeezed her hand. I meant what I said Friday night. I'm not going anywhere. Not this time. 2 weeks later, mid-May 2025, Kevin's perspective. The transition was harder than Kevin had anticipated. Liam had embraced having a father with the resilience of childhood, calling Kevin Dad with increasing comfort, spending 3 nights a week at Kevin's new house in the historic district, excitedly introducing Kevin as my dad to everyone at school. But Liam's relationship with Cleo had fractured. He was polite but distant. Answered her questions with single words. Chose to stay with Kevin whenever given the option. Hadn't hugged her since the day they'd told him the truth. Kevin watched Cleo break a little more each time Liam chose him over her. He'll come around, Kevin said for the 100th time. They were standing in Cleo's apartment on a Thursday evening. Kevin had just picked Liam up for his midweek overnight, and Liam had already run to the car without saying goodbye to his mother. It's been 2 weeks. Cleo's voice was hollow. He barely speaks to me. At parent-teacher conferences yesterday, he sat next to you the whole time and wouldn't even look at me. He's processing. He hates me. Cleo's composure cracked. I spent 7 years being his entire world, and now he can't stand to be in the same room with me. This is exactly what I was afraid of, Kevin. I lose my son, and you get to be the hero who swooped in and saved him. That's not what's happening, Kevin said urgently. Isn't it? Cleo laughed bitterly. You're the dad he always wanted. I'm the mom who lied to him his whole life. The math is pretty simple. Cleo, just go. Liam's waiting. Cleo turned away. Have a good night. Kevin wanted to stay. Wanted to pull her into his arms and promise it would be okay. But Liam was indeed waiting in the car, and Kevin's time with his son was still too new, too precious to delay. We'll figure this out, Kevin said to Cleo's back. I promise. She didn't respond. That night, Kevin's house. Kevin lay in bed, unable to sleep, thinking about the woman he loved falling apart while their son punished her for sins she'd committed out of fear and love. His phone buzzed. A text from his lawyer. Vanessa Chen's attorney reached out. They want to settle before we file. They're offering $2 million and a public apology. Thoughts? Kevin stared at the message. $2 million. A public apology. Vanessa Chen's career would be over. It was everything he'd wanted 2 weeks ago when rage had consumed him. But now, lying in his house with his son asleep down the hall, Kevin thought about what Cleo had said. A lawsuit means reporters and publicity and Liam finding out from strangers. More than that, it meant dragging their family through public scrutiny at the exact moment when they were most fragile. Kevin typed back. I'll accept the settlement on one condition, no public announcement. Private apology to me and Cleo, money donated to single mother charities in Cleo's name, and Vanessa agrees never to work in executive assistance again. If she accepts, we're done. The response came quickly. That's incredibly generous given what she did. Kevin looked at the framed photo on his nightstand, from last weekend, him and Liam at Folly Beach, both grinning at the camera. Garrett had taken it when he joined them for the day. I'm not interested in revenge anymore, Kevin typed. I'm interested in protecting my family. Make it happen. He set down his phone and thought about Cleo. About the woman who'd loved him 8 years ago. Who'd tried desperately to reach him when she was pregnant and alone. Who'd raised their incredible son without any help because Kevin had made himself unreachable. Who was now losing that son's trust because she'd been too afraid to tell the truth. Kevin had spent 2 weeks being the good guy. The dad who showed up. The parent Liam chose. But watching Cleo's heart break over and over was destroying something in Kevin's chest. Liam needed his mother. Even if he didn't know it yet. And Cleo needed someone to fight for her the way she'd fought for Liam all those years. Kevin made a decision. Tomorrow, he was going to fix this. Even if it meant risking his own relationship with Liam to do it. The next day, Friday, May 10th, 2025. Kevin picked Liam up from school and drove him not to his house, but to Waterfront Park, the place where everything had started 7 weeks ago. How come we're here? Liam asked as they walked toward the pineapple fountain. Because I want to talk to you about something important, Kevin said. And this place is special. It's where I first met you. Where I first saw your mama again after 8 years. They sat on a bench overlooking the water. Kevin took a breath and dove in. Liam, I know you're mad at your mama. And I understand why. She lied to you about something really important. Yeah. Liam kicked his feet against the bench. She should have told me. You're right. She should have. Kevin turned to face his son. But buddy, I need you to understand something. Your mama didn't lie to hurt you. She lied to protect you. That's what everyone keeps saying, Liam muttered. But it doesn't make sense. How is lying protecting me? Because she was terrified I would take you away from her. Liam's eyes widened. Why would she think that? Because I'm very rich, Liam. I have a lot of money and a lot of lawyers. Your mama thought that if I found out about you, I might try to take you away from her. Or that I'd be angry she kept you from me and try to punish her by taking custody. Kevin's voice was gentle but honest. She was scared that telling me the truth meant losing you. And you're her whole world, buddy. The thought of losing you terrified her so much that she made a bad choice. Liam was quiet, processing. Would you have taken me away? Never. Kevin's voice was fierce. Not in a million years. Your mama is an incredible mother. She's loved you and protected you and given you everything you needed for 7 years. I would never try to take you from her. But she didn't know that. She just knew she loved you more than anything and couldn't risk losing you. So she lied because she was scared? Yes. And then once the lie got started, it got harder and harder to tell the truth. The longer she waited, the scarier it became. Kevin put his hand on Liam's shoulder. Have you ever done something wrong and then been too afraid to admit it? So you just kept it secret and hoped no one would find out? Liam nodded slowly. I broke Mom's favorite mug last year. I hid the pieces and said I didn't know what happened. What did your mama do when she found out? She was mad at first. But then she said she was more sad that I didn't trust her enough to tell the truth. Liam looked up at Kevin. Is that how Mama felt? Sad that I didn't trust her? I think she feels sad that she didn't trust herself enough to tell you sooner. And I think she's heartbroken that you're mad at her now. Kevin crouched down to Liam's eye level. Buddy, your mama loves you more than her own life. She worked so hard for 7 years to give you everything. She was both mom and dad, worked full-time, made sure you had a good home and food and clothes and love. She did it all alone because I wasn't there to help. Tears welled in Liam's eyes. I miss her. I know you do. But I'm still mad. That's okay. You can be both. Kevin wiped Liam's tears. You can be mad at her for lying and still love her. You can need space and still want your mama. Feelings are complicated like that. What should I do? I think you should talk to her. Tell her you're still hurt, but that you love her. Let her explain in her own words why she did what she did. Kevin pulled Liam into a hug. And Liam? Your mama needs you right now. She's been your rock for 7 years. Now it's your turn to be hers. Liam nodded against Kevin's chest. Can we go see her? Now. Yeah, buddy. We can go see her right now. Friday evening, Cleo's apartment, 5:30 p.m. Cleo opened the door to find Kevin and Liam on her doorstep. Her eyes were red-rimmed, she'd clearly been crying. Again. Liam? Cleo's voice was tentative, afraid to hope. Baby, what are you doing here? I thought you were staying with your dad tonight. I wanted to see you, Mama. Liam stepped forward hesitantly. Can we talk? Cleo's hand went to her mouth. Of course. Always. Come in. Kevin gave Cleo an encouraging nod and stepped back. I'll wait in the car. Give you two some privacy. Kevin, Cleo started. You've got this, Kevin said softly. Both of you. After Kevin left, Cleo and Liam sat on the couch together, the same couch where they'd read stories every night for 7 years. The silence stretched. I'm sorry I've been mean to you, Liam said finally. Dad, Kevin, he helped me understand why you lied. You were scared. I was terrified, Cleo admitted, fresh tears sliding down her face. You're the most important thing in my life, Liam. The thought of losing you made me make really bad choices. I should have been braver. I should have trusted that things would work out. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry too, Liam said. I was really mad and I said mean things and I wouldn't hug you. That was wrong. You had every right to be mad. But I don't want to be mad anymore. Liam climbed into Cleo's lap like he used to when he was smaller. I miss you, Mama. I miss us. Cleo wrapped her arms around her son and sobbed. I miss us too, baby. So much. Can things go back to normal? I don't know if they can go back, Cleo said honestly. But we can make a new normal. One where you have both your mama and your dad. One where we're all honest with each other. One where we're a family, even if it looks different than it used to. Liam pulled back to look at her. A family with you, me, and Dad? If that's what you want. What about you and Dad? Are you going to get married? Cleo's breath caught. Why do you ask that? Because Dad looks at you the way the prince looks at the princess in my movies. And you look at him the same way. Liam tilted his head. And it would be cool if we all lived together. Like a real family. We are a real family, baby. No matter where we live. Cleo smoothed his curls. Your dad and I, we're figuring things out. We hurt each other a long time ago, and we're still learning how to trust each other again. But we both love you. That's never going to change. Okay. Liam hugged her tight. I love you, Mama. Even when I'm mad. I love you too, baby. Always and forever. They sat like that until Kevin knocked softly on the door 20 minutes later. How are we doing? Kevin asked carefully. Better, Cleo said, smiling through tears. So much better. Liam jumped off the couch and ran to Kevin. Dad, can Mama come to dinner with us? Please? I want us all to be together. Kevin looked at Cleo over Liam's head. The emotion in his eyes was complex, relief, hope, something deeper that made Cleo's heart skip. I think that's a great idea, Kevin said. Cleo? Would you join us? I'd love to, Cleo whispered. And for the first time in 2 weeks, the three of them left together. A family. Broken and mended and still figuring it out. But together. Welcome back to Tales of the Heart, where we bring you emotional and heart-touching stories that speak to the soul. If you're just joining us for the first time, you're welcome to this wonderful big family. We're so glad to have you here. Please make sure to watch till the end, and if today's story moves you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and share this video with your family and loved ones. Now, let's continue. 4 months later, August 10th, 2025, 7:45 p.m. Kevin stood in his downtown Charleston office, staring at the small velvet box in his hand. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, the sun was setting over the harbor, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold that reminded him of Cleo's favorite dress, the one she'd worn on their first real date back in 2017. 8 years. 8 years of loving her, losing her, finding her again. 4 months of co-parenting Liam. 4 months of careful friendship. 4 months of dancing around the feelings that blazed between them every time their hands accidentally touched, every time their eyes met over their son's head, every time Kevin watched Cleo laugh and remembered why he'd fallen in love with her in the first place. 4 months of wanting to tell her the truth, that he was still desperately, completely, irrevocably in love with her. Tonight, that changed. His phone rang. Garrett's name flashed on the screen. Tell me you're not chickening out, Garrett said without preamble. I'm terrified, Kevin admitted. What if she says no? What if she thinks it's too soon? What if she wants to keep things the way they are, friendly co-parents and nothing more? Then you'll know, Garrett said. But Kevin, I've seen the way she looks at you. That woman is in love with you. She's just waiting for you to make the first move. We've been through so much. I don't want to mess this up. You won't. Garrett's voice was firm. You've spent 4 months proving you're not going anywhere. You've been the father Liam needed. You've supported Cleo through everything. You've built trust. Now it's time to build a future. Go get your girl, brother. Kevin smiled. Thanks, Garrett. Call me tomorrow with good news. After hanging up, Kevin looked at the ring again, a vintage emerald surrounded by diamonds, because Cleo had once mentioned that emeralds were her favorite stone. He'd spent 3 weeks working with a jeweler on King Street to create something unique, something that captured Cleo's strength and beauty. He pocketed the box and headed out. Tonight, he was going to ask the mother of his child to marry him. Meanwhile, Cleo's apartment. Mama, why are you so nervous? Liam watched from Cleo's bed as she changed outfits for the 3rd time. It's just dinner with Dad. It's not just dinner, Sienna said from the doorway, grinning. Your dad asked your mama on a real date. Their first official date in 8 years. Liam's eyes widened. Like a boyfriend-girlfriend date? Cleo turned from the mirror, her cheeks flushing. Liam, baby, how would you feel if your dad and I, if we were more than just friends? Are you kidding? Liam bounced on the bed. That would be amazing. Then we could all live together. We'd be a real family. We're already a real family, Cleo reminded him gently, but her heart was racing. I know, but this would be even better. Liam jumped off the bed and hugged her waist. I want you and Dad to be together, Mama. He makes you smile like you used to before everything got complicated. Cleo looked at Sienna over Liam's head. Her best friend nodded encouragingly. Okay, Cleo whispered. Okay. She settled on the emerald dress, the one that had been hanging in her closet unworn since 2017, the one she'd bought for a special occasion with Kevin that never happened because he'd left for Europe. Tonight felt like the right time to finally wear it. 8 p.m., Peninsula Grill. Kevin arrived at Peninsula Grill first, his heart hammering against his ribs. He'd reserved the courtyard table, private, romantic, surrounded by Charleston's famous jasmine and magnolia blossoms. Candlelight flickered on white tablecloths. A string quartet played softly in the corner. When Cleo walked in, Kevin forgot how to breathe. She wore emerald green, his favorite color on her, and her hair fell in soft curls around her shoulders. At 35, she was more beautiful than any memory he'd carried for 8 years. She was real and present and looking at him with eyes that held hope and fear in equal measure. Hi, Cleo said, her voice soft. Hi. Kevin stood and pulled out her chair. You look. Cleo, you're breathtaking. You're not so bad yourself. Cleo smiled as she sat, and Kevin caught a hint of her perfume. The same one from 2017, jasmine and something uniquely her. They ordered wine. Made small talk about Liam, about Kevin's latest business acquisition, about Cleo's upcoming school year. But underneath the casual conversation, electricity crackled between them. Finally, as their entrees arrived, Kevin set down his fork and looked directly at Cleo. We need to talk about us, Kevin said. Cleo's breath caught. Us? Cleo, we've spent 4 months being excellent co-parents. We've rebuilt trust. We've created stability for Liam. We've become friends again. Kevin reached across the table and took her hand. But I don't want to be your friend. Cleo's eyes widened. Kevin, let me finish. Please. Kevin's thumb traced circles on her palm, the gesture from 8 years ago, the touch that still ignited fireworks. I've been in love with you since 2017. Leaving you was the biggest mistake of my life. I spent 8 years trying to fill the hole you left with work and success and building an empire. None of it mattered. None of it meant anything without you. Kevin, Cleo whispered, tears gathering in her eyes. When I found you again in March, when I discovered Liam was mine, when I realized we'd lost 8 years because of circumstances and miscommunication and my own stupidity, I promised myself I wouldn't waste another day. But then everything got complicated with telling Liam and navigating co-parenting, and I didn't want to rush you or pressure you or mess up the family we were building. Kevin squeezed her hand. But Cleo, I can't do this anymore. I can't pretend I don't love you. I can't act like seeing you every day and not being able to hold you isn't killing me. I can't. I love you too, Cleo interrupted, tears streaming down her face. God, Kevin, I've loved you for 8 years. Through pregnancy and childbirth and every single day of raising Liam alone. I loved you when I thought you'd abandoned us. I loved you when I was angry at you. I loved you when you came back. I've never stopped loving you. Kevin stood abruptly, moved around the table, and pulled Cleo to her feet. The other diners glanced over, but Kevin didn't care. Say that again, Kevin demanded, his hands framing her face. I love you, Cleo said, smiling through tears. I love you, Kevin Brooks. I've always loved you. Kevin kissed her. 8 years of longing, 8 years of missed moments, 8 years of loving each other from a distance, all of it poured into a kiss that tasted like coming home. Cleo's arms wrapped around his neck, and Kevin pulled her closer, desperate to make up for lost time. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, the restaurant had gone silent. Then someone started clapping. The applause spread until the entire courtyard was cheering. Kevin laughed, pressing his forehead to Cleo's. I had a whole speech planned. You can still say it, Cleo whispered. I'm going to do better than that. Kevin stepped back, reached into his pocket, and dropped to one knee. Cleo gasped. Her hands flew to her mouth. Cleo McLean, Kevin began, his voice steady despite the tears on his face. You are the strongest, most incredible woman I've ever known. You raised our son alone for 7 years and made him into the amazing kid he is. You forgave me for being unreachable. You gave me a second chance to be Liam's father. You've shown me what real strength looks like, what unconditional love means, what it takes to be a true partner. He opened the velvet box. The emerald caught the candlelight, glowing like Cleo's dress, like her eyes, like the future Kevin could finally see. I know we've been through hell to get here. I know we have history and hurt and 8 years of missed time between us. But I also know that I want to spend the rest of my life making it up to you. I want to wake up next to you every morning. I want to raise Liam together under one roof. I want to give you more children if you want them. I want to grow old with you and never, ever let you go again. Kevin's voice broke with emotion. Cleo, will you marry me? Will you let me be your husband, Liam's father, and the man who loves you for the rest of our lives? Cleo was sobbing openly now, nodding before she could even speak. Yes. Yes. Kevin, yes, of course I'll marry you. Kevin slipped the ring onto her finger, a perfect fit, and stood to kiss her again. The restaurant erupted in applause and cheers. Someone popped champagne. The string quartet shifted to a romantic waltz. But Kevin and Cleo only had eyes for each other. I can't believe this is real, Cleo whispered against his lips. I've dreamed about this moment for so long. It's real. Kevin held her close, swaying to the music. We're real. This time, I'm not going anywhere. This time, I'm staying forever. Forever, Cleo repeated. I like the sound of that. Later that night, 10:30 p.m., Kevin's house. They picked up Liam together from Nadine's house, where he'd been staying for the evening. The little boy was already in his pajamas, fighting sleep in his grandmother's arms. How was your date? Nadine asked, but her knowing smile said she'd already guessed. Grandma, look. Cleo held out her left hand, the emerald catching the porch light. Nadine's eyes filled with tears. Oh, baby. Oh, this is wonderful. What is it? Liam perked up immediately. Mama, what's on your hand? Cleo knelt down to Liam's level. Baby, Kevin asked me to marry him tonight. And I said yes. For a moment, Liam just stared. Then he launched himself at both of them with a whoop of joy. You're getting married. We're going to be a real family. We're all going to live together. Kevin caught Liam mid-launch and lifted him up. How do you feel about that, buddy? About me marrying your mama? Are you kidding? This is the best day ever. Liam threw his arms around Kevin's neck, then reached for Cleo. Well, second best. The best was finding out you're my dad. But this is really, really close. Kevin and Cleo laughed, tears and joy mingling together. Nadine wiped her eyes. Lord, I've been praying for this day. My baby and her baby's father, finally together like they should have been all along. Thank you, Ma, Cleo said, hugging her mother. For everything. For holding me together when I was pregnant and scared. For believing it would all work out. God's timing isn't always our timing, baby. But it's always right. Nadine kissed Cleo's forehead, then Kevin's cheek. You take care of my daughter, Kevin Brooks. With my life, Kevin promised. I won't make the same mistakes again. They drove back to Kevin's house, all three of them, together. Liam chattered excitedly the whole way about the wedding, about moving in together, about whether he could be the ring bearer. Of course you can be the ring bearer, Kevin said, glancing at Cleo with a smile. You're the most important person in this family. Nuh-uh, Liam said seriously. Mama is. She kept everything together when you were gone, Dad. She's the real hero. Kevin reached over and took Cleo's hand. Your son is very wise. He gets it from his father, Cleo said softly. At Kevin's house, they tucked Liam into the guest bedroom that was slowly becoming his permanent room. Kevin read him a story while Cleo sat on the edge of the bed, running her fingers through their son's curls. I love you both, Liam said sleepily. This is the best family ever. We love you too, baby, Cleo whispered. Sweet dreams. Once Liam was asleep, Kevin and Cleo retreated to the living room. Kevin poured wine, and they curled up together on the couch overlooking the harbor through massive windows. I can't believe we're here, Cleo said, her head on Kevin's shoulder. After everything we've been through. We almost didn't make it. Kevin kissed her temple. So many things could have gone wrong. I could have stayed in Europe. You could have moved away. We might never have run into each other at that fountain. But we did. Cleo looked up at him. Maybe it really is God's timing, like my mama said. Maybe we weren't ready for each other 8 years ago. You needed to build your empire. I needed to learn how to be strong on my own. And Liam needed to exist, because I can't imagine our lives without him. Our son brought us back together, Kevin said wonderingly. The child I didn't know existed gave me a reason to fight for us. So what now? Cleo asked. We get married, we live happily ever after? It won't be perfect, Kevin said honestly. We'll have hard days. We'll disagree about parenting. We'll have moments where the past hurts. But Cleo, I promise you this, I will never leave. I will never choose work over family. I will never make you feel like you're not the most important person in my world. And I promise never to keep secrets from you again. Cleo's voice was fierce. No more lies, no more hiding. We face everything together. Together, Kevin agreed. He pulled her onto his lap and kissed her deeply. When do you want to get married? Is tomorrow too soon? Cleo laughed. Not soon enough. Kevin smiled against her lips. But maybe we should give Liam time to enjoy being the ring bearer. And your mother will want to plan something. Small wedding, Cleo said. Just family and close friends. I don't need a big production. I just need you. How about Christmas? Kevin suggested. For months from now. Gives us time to plan something intimate but special. We could do it at Magnolia Plantation, you've always loved it there. Christmas at Magnolia Plantation. Cleo's eyes glowed. Kevin, that's perfect. Then it settled. Kevin stood, lifting Cleo with him. December 25, 2025, you become Mrs. Brooks. Actually, Cleo said, I was thinking McLean Brooks. Honor both our families. Kevin's smile widened. Mrs. McLean Brooks. I love it. They swayed together in the living room, no music needed, just the sound of the harbor outside and their son sleeping peacefully down the hall. 8 years. 2 broken hearts. 1 miraculous second chance. And finally, they were home. 4 months later, December 25, 2025, Christmas Day. Magnolia Plantation and Gardens. The garden ceremony site was transformed into a winter wonderland. White flowers and greenery adorned every surface. Candles glowed in the twilight. 50 chairs held their closest family and friends, Nadine in the front row dabbing her eyes, Garrett standing beside Kevin as best man, Sienna adjusting Cleo's veil one last time. And Liam, 8 years old as of last March, standing proud in his little tuxedo with the rings tied to a pillow. Kevin waited at the altar, his heart in his throat. He wore a tailored black suit and a smile that hadn't dimmed in 4 months. The string quartet began to play. Cleo appeared at the end of the aisle on her mother's arm, and Kevin's vision blurred with tears. She wore ivory lace that hugged her curves, her natural hair styled in an elegant updo with jasmine flowers woven through. At 35, she was radiant, the woman he'd loved since 2017, the mother of his child, the partner he'd searched for across 8 years and an ocean. His entire future walking toward him. Nadine placed Cleo's hand in Kevin's and whispered, "Take care of my baby." "Always," Kevin promised. The officiant began, but Kevin barely heard the words. He was lost in Cleo's eyes, in the miracle of this moment. "Kevin and Cleo have written their own vows," the officiant said. Kevin went first, his voice steady despite the emotion choking him. "Cleo, I loved you at 27 when you were substitute teaching in sketching buildings. I loved you at 30 when I made the worst mistake of my life and left for Europe. I loved you through 8 years of absence when I didn't even know I'd given you the greatest gift, our son. And I love you now, at 38, with complete clarity about what matters." He squeezed her hands. "You are my home. You're the strongest person I know. You raised Liam to be kind, smart, and incredible. You forgave me when you had every right to hate me. You gave me a second chance I didn't deserve. And I promise you, Cleo McLean, that I will spend the rest of my life earning that second chance. I will love you through every season. I will be the partner you deserve. I will never, ever leave you again." Tears streamed down Cleo's face as she began her vows. "Kevin Brooks, you were my first love. My only love. When you left in 2017, you took my heart with you. And when you came back, when I saw you at that fountain with our son, I knew, I'd been waiting for you. For 8 years, through everything, I'd been waiting." Her voice strengthened. "You've proven yourself 100 times over. You've been the father Liam always needed. You've supported me, believed in me, fought for us when it would have been easier to walk away. You've shown me that true love doesn't give up, even when the odds are impossible." Cleo smiled through tears. "I promise to love you with everything I have. To trust you with my whole heart. To build a life with you that honors everything we've survived. To be your wife, your partner, your safe place to land. Today and forever." The officiant smiled. "Liam, the rings please." Liam stepped forward carefully, concentrating hard on not tripping. He handed the rings to the officiant, then stage whispered, "Can they kiss now?" Laughter rippled through the audience. "Almost, buddy," Kevin said, winking at his son. They exchanged rings, Kevin's band engraved with "Forever starts today," Cleo's with "Home at last." "By the power vested in me by the state of South Carolina," the officiant said, "I now pronounce you husband and wife. Kevin, you may kiss your bride." Kevin pulled Cleo into his arms and kissed her deeply, thoroughly, in front of God and family and everyone who mattered. When they broke apart, the guests erupted in applause. Liam ran up and threw his arms around both of them. "We're a family. A real, forever family." Kevin lifted Liam up, one arm around his son, the other around his wife. "The best family in the world." Reception, 8 p.m. The reception was held in Magnolia's elegant conservatory, decorated with thousands of white lights and winter flowers. Dinner was served family-style, low-country cuisine celebrating Charleston's rich traditions. The cake was 3 tiers of perfection, topped with sugar magnolias. Kevin's toast had everyone in tears. 8 years ago, I thought success meant building an empire. Turned out, success meant finding my way back to this woman and discovering the son I didn't know I had. Cleo, Liam, you're my empire now. Everything else is just details." Garrett's best man speech was both hilarious and heartfelt. "I watched my brother destroy himself for 8 years, wondering what he'd lost. Then I watched him find it again and fight like hell to keep it. Kevin, Cleo, you two proved that love doesn't follow timelines. It just follows truth. Congratulations on finally getting your timing right. Sienna's maid of honor speech made Cleo sob. I've known Cleo since college. I watched her fall in love with Kevin in 2017. I held her hand when he left. I was there when Liam was born. I watched her raise that beautiful boy alone with grace and strength that awed me daily. And I watched her never stop loving the man who'd left. Cleo, you deserve this happiness. You deserve this love. And Kevin, you better know how lucky you are. I do, Kevin called out, pulling Cleo close. Luckiest man alive. For the first dance, Kevin and Cleo swayed to At Last by Etta James, fitting for a love that had taken 8 years to come full circle. Mrs. McLean Brooks, Kevin whispered in her ear. How does it feel? Like coming home, Cleo said. Like everything we survived was worth it to get here. Worth every second, Kevin agreed. Even the painful ones. Because they brought us here. Liam cut in halfway through, insisting on dancing with both his parents. They swayed together, the three of them, while cameras flashed and guests smiled. A family. Finally whole. Epilogue, 18 months later, June 2027. Cleo stood on the porch of their new home, a historic house in Charleston's Harleston village that Kevin had bought and renovated for their growing family. At 36, she was 7 months pregnant with their daughter. Inside, she could hear Kevin and Liam building a crib in the nursery, their laughter echoing through the house. No, Dad, that piece goes there. Are you sure? The instructions say. Trust me, I'm 9. I know everything. Kevin's laugh was warm and easy. How could I argue with that logic? Cleo smiled, her hand on her growing belly. Their daughter kicked as if in response. Nadine appeared beside her with sweet tea. You look happy, baby. I am, Mama. Cleo took the glass. I really, really am. You deserve it. After everything you went through, all those years alone, you deserve every bit of this happiness. Sometimes I can't believe it's real, Cleo admitted. That Kevin came back. That we worked through everything. That we're here. God's timing, Nadine said, repeating her favorite phrase. It's always perfect, even when we can't see it. From inside, Liam called out, Mama. Come see. We finished the crib. Cleo walked inside to find Kevin and Liam standing proudly beside a white crib adorned with soft pink bedding. Kevin had his arm around Liam, both of them grinning. What do you think? Kevin asked. It's perfect. Cleo joined them, Kevin's arm immediately wrapping around her waist. You two make a good team. The best team, Liam said. He put his hand on Cleo's belly. Hi, baby sister. I'm your big brother Liam. I'm going to teach you everything. The baby kicked against Liam's palm, and his eyes widened. She knows I'm here. She definitely knows her big brother, Kevin said, his hand joining Liam's on Cleo's stomach. Cleo looked at her family, her husband of 18 months, her 9-year-old son, the daughter about to join them, and felt overwhelming gratitude. 8 years ago, she'd been alone and pregnant, certain Kevin had abandoned her. Now, she had everything. I love you, Cleo said to Kevin. I love you more, Kevin replied, kissing her softly. I love you both most, Liam declared. They laughed, and Cleo thought about the journey that had brought them here. The pain and mistakes. The lost years and desperate attempts to reconnect. The secrets and revelations. The forgiveness and second chances. All of it had led to this moment. To this family. To this love that had survived everything and emerged stronger. Kevin's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and smiled. Vanessa Chen just sent an email. Cleo stiffened. What does she want? To congratulate us on the baby. And to apologize again. Kevin deleted the message without responding. But I don't need her apology anymore. I have everything I need right here. He pulled Cleo and Liam close, the three of them standing in the nursery where their daughter would sleep, surrounded by love that had conquered time and distance and every obstacle in its path. Forever family, Liam said. Forever family, Kevin and Cleo echoed. And in that moment, with Charleston summer sunlight streaming through the windows and their daughter kicking between them and 9-year-old Liam chattering about all the things he'd teach his baby sister, Cleo understood what Nadine had always known. Some love stories take 8 years and a secret son and 2 broken hearts to come true. But when they finally do, they're worth the wait. Kevin and Cleo's journey proves that some love stories are worth waiting for, even if it takes 8 years, a secret son, and 2 broken hearts to find their way back to each other. If this story touched your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button to let us know you believe in second chances. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another story about love that conquers all odds. And tell us in the comments, would you have forgiven Kevin? Would you have forgiven Cleo? We love hearing your thoughts on these complicated, beautiful love stories. Remember, it's never too late for love. It's never too late for truth. And it's never too late to come home. Thanks for spending the last hour with us. We'll see you in the next story. Until then, believe in second chances, and never give up on love.